because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. But I'd also say that great powers can afford for now to go it alone. They have the market size, the military capacity, and the leverage to dictate terms. Middle powers do not.
There we go. So what do you make of that?
Well, it's one of the most consequential speeches ever given by a Canadian Prime Minister. I mean, it contrasts so strongly with the ramblings of the mad pirate king that we are. I mean, I think it's still ongoing in Washington that Trump is still rambling, but no one can actually pay attention anymore. We have clarity. Like what we have is a very clear position. I think it's a position that the Canadian people have come to understand. I think the world has not quite come to understand it with the clarity that Canada has. But yeah, now like the lesson here is that America is a genuine threat to democracy and freedom around the world, and we have to act accordingly.
Yeah, it is, you know, and I think it was almost like Mark Carney saying, listen, we've been subjected to this for a while. Now the rest of the liberal democracies, or many liberal democracies in the world, are starting to be subjected to the same kind of treatment. So it's sort of been a wake-up call. It's almost as if he's saying, all right, so here's what we need to do, because we in Canada have been thinking about this for a little while, longer than maybe others have.
Well, it's much closer to our hearts. We're much more endangered by it, so it's natural that we understand it better. Plus, we just understand America better than any other country. Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you thought you could make a deal with Donald Trump. You went and bragged to your people that you had a deal with Donald Trump. I mean, he throws those deals away on a heartbeat. And now that America has fully entered the logic of the rapist, I think it's become very clear to everyone in the world that, you know, you cannot make deals with these people. He could have gotten everything, every U.S. security guarantee from Denmark just by asking. He wants them not to want it. That is what gives him the pleasure that he seeks. And when you're dealing with someone with a logic like that, the only response is force to the maximum. And pure resistance. And I mean, I think we're seeing the same thing in Minnesota. There is no talking to these people.
Carney's speech happened in the context of the latest social media provocations from Donald Trump, posting that manipulated image. I think we may have it, but the manipulated image of the map showing the American flag over Canada, Greenland, and Venezuela. I mean, what went through your mind when you saw that image? Oh, this was posted this morning, by the way.
We all know that if he takes Greenland, we're next. Like if he takes Greenland, the next thing that will make him feel like a big man is if the American flag hovers over Canada. We need to actively prepare for, and I mean, I think that when we made Gloves Off, when we made the next Civil War, these were contentious ideas, these were controversial ideas. I think this is widely accepted by broad swaths of the Canadian population that this is a genuine threat, and I think we are genuinely making progress. But you know, it's not going back to normal. The threat is only going to increase for the foreseeable future, and that needs to be absolutely front of mind of every institution in this country. And it means that every kind of integration that we have with the United States, including financial and technological sectors and service sectors, need to be deeply reconsidered from the ground up.
So you're talking about a full decoupling or something close to it?
Well, I don't know if a full decoupling is possible in the 21st century from anyone. It's not like you can fully decouple even from Russia. But we need to understand that any American force in our country, including ownership of our media entities, ownership of financial instruments, these are all potential weapons that can be used against us by a force that is intent on using them. And so we need to prepare for that reality, and we need to prepare. We need to make really drastic changes. And I mean, to be clear, I think we are making drastic changes. I don't think this is something that, it's not. I think saying "Wake up, Canada," Canadians have woken up. They know what the situation is. The question is, when is the hardness going to come for it? When are the hard decisions really going to have to be made? And I think sooner rather than later will preserve us all.
You said, and others have said today, that this is one of, if not the most consequential speech by a Canadian Prime Minister. This moment is certainly a historic moment, or it sure feels like it is. What else about what you heard there makes you feel that way?
We know what we stand for. And what that expressed was not only a practical, pragmatic approach to it, but it was also a statement of very clear values about international sovereignty, about mourning the rules-based order, which really is the only sensible way to run the world, but is breaking apart. I think what was consequential about that speech is not only that it established Canada as a leader in the resistance to this new authoritarianism, but that it was also a very clear, pragmatic approach about how to proceed with it. And that I think is really that's why it's such a consequential speech, because it's you know, it's only made possible because of the deal we made with China last week, right? Like it's only possible because we are actually pivoting to other markets, because we have increased our trade with other markets and decreased our trade with the United States. So we have taken very serious pragmatic steps. We need to accelerate them, but you know, I think one of the things that's so impressive about that speech is that it's actually a moment of hope. It's actually an understanding like there is a way to survive this. It just takes guts and it takes a little endurance, but it can be survived. That's why I think it's more important really than even just the Canadian context of these remarks.
I mean, it certainly sounds as though the Prime Minister is trying to lead, especially the middle powers of the world, saying, hey, we need to collaborate. We need to kind of come together, cooperate. Otherwise, well, he said it. He's like, we'll be on the menu.
Do you want to remain a democracy? Yes. Like, and I mean, I think a huge number of people want to remain a democracy in America too, but they have not found a way to do that. We need to find a way to remain a democracy, to remain a multicultural democracy too, and one connected to basic common sense and the pursuit of human dignity. That requires extreme amounts of effort at moments like this. These are, you know, I deal a lot with the collapse of democratic societies, the internal contradictions that consume democracies. Authoritarian societies fall apart way faster. No authoritarian society functions well at all. They just don't. Every person who lives in a democracy prefers it to living in an authoritarian society. How do we stick together to make sure that we fight off these bullies and these rapists from our countries? It is the political question of our time. It is the struggle in the world right now, and I think Carney is really the spearhead of it. I think he genuinely occupies an intellectual role that's technocratic enough that he can make moves. It's not just rhetoric. There's actual deals are being made. You know, institutions are being remodeled, and that's a real cause for hope.
So that's a cause for hope. But in terms of sticking together, what do you make of this question that apparently Mark Carney is weighing, and that is sending troops, a small number of troops, in the context of defending Greenland against Donald Trump's potential takeover of the territory?
It's absolutely necessary. I mean, we need to stand with the sovereignty of small countries. Period. Even if it's a doomed mission, we need to do that. But everyone needs to understand that we need to stick together militarily as much as we do economically. We cannot allow America just to walk over what their mad pirate king wants. And you know, Denmark will fight, but we need to be a part of that, if only in a token sense, because you know, the violating sovereignty in this thing is evil. It's an evil in itself, and we need to stand against it.
How dangerous do you think this moment is for us, for the world?
You know, I don't think we're really in the point where how dangerous is it? We're in it. We're in the mess. Like the international order is over. Like that, I mean, it's just like Carney said. It's not a question of like how dangerous is this moment. The question is who is going to win the fight, and what is the nature of this fight? Who is on whose side, and how are we going to structure ourselves? How are we going to find ways to win this battle? Because you know, it's not a threat anymore. The battle is on. Right. And so we need to actually understand that we are in basically war conditions in Canada.
And are Canadians on board? Are the other liberal democracies on board? Go ahead.
Well, other liberal democracies, I mean, it's very there's the surge of the far right, although they don't approve of violating Greenland sovereignty either. I mean, there's I think the violation of sovereignty of a European country is really there's no one approves of that. I mean, less than 4% of Americans approve of it. It truly is the blatherings of a lunatic who's taken over a degrading and collapsing country to fulfill his fantasies of megalomaniacal grandeur. How well Europe can get together. I mean, I think this is sovereignty, like economic struggles and tariffs and so on. These things are negotiable. Someone coming and taking your territory is a completely different matter.
Yeah.
And it requires a, like, if you cave on that, you'll never win election again. Your people will turn on you. You will go down in history as a failure. Right. And so there is just a completely different standard to this kind of assault than to all the economic nonsense. I mean, Canadians understand that implicitly, right? Tariff wars and so on, that's one thing. 51st state, completely different matter.
Stephen, thank you. Stephen Marsh joining us from Toronto.
Always.
For more on this, I want to bring in Stephen Marsh. He's the